Welcome to the April Live. You guys want to see something cool? I just got this today, a Gatling gun. Isn't that awesome? The benefit of living out in the woods. You just crank this thing and it goes, and you have to make sure it's not loaded. You have to actually pull this trigger. There's a little spring there. Really fun. Shoots 22 ammo. I know you guys aren't here for gun stuff, but whatever. Anyway, that's taped up, but 22 rounds, and yeah, Gatling gun. Anyway, in the middle of a move, so that's why this live is a little late. Usually it's the third week of the month or something like that, but this was down to the wire. As you can see, flip this around. There we go. That is bare. This is bare. My goat painting's down. Everything is pretty empty. And yeah, only a few days away. So just juggling a lot with trying to get things ready here. There's my current situation. So yeah, I hope everyone's doing well and have some cool new stuff to share. Let's see. Kellen says, what would you recommend as a protocol with your supplements for melasma? I'm assuming high dosages at first. Yeah, niacinamide. I've been posting a lot about this. Basically, high dose, that's 2 to 3 grams of this form of vitamin B3. In the literature, it's called nicotinamide if you search. And a lot of health conditions are caused by just an energy deficiency in the cell and a altered NAD to NADH ratio, which can be caused by so many factors, environmental pollutants, just EMFs, tons of stuff. So just adding in some of these things can help to balance out the system. And I take more of a shotgun approach with the CLF protocol and with what I share. Actually, I just recorded for my podcast right before this, and I was talking about how people rely on labs. There's a heavy reliance on clinical research, like clinical studies and labs, to kind of guide your life. And while that can be helpful, I think people can get addicted to that. And I've had, when I was doing consultations over the last few years, just seeing the obsession with labs. And you have to ask the question, right? Like, are the ideal lab values, like the reference ranges, are those correct? Who knows, right? Possibly not. Most likely not, especially when it comes to secosteroid hormone D or 25D, vitamin D. It's off and off. It's not, they raise the bar, right? Or they're looking in the wrong place. So whether it's getting your labs with your blood work, people send me that all the time. It's like, it doesn't really tell me a lot. Or it's clinical studies, and being in this field, people battle me with studies all the time and say, this one study showed that oxidized fish oil lowered inflammation or this and that. And, there's the Pufa queen. I call her Dr. Rhonda Patrick, just Pufa queen, just fish oil for everything, omega-3s. And it's study after study and study worship, right? People are either, they're worshiping a celebrity or they're worshiping clinical studies. It's like, we have to move beyond that and just using like common sense, right? Like with health, like you don't need to know, this is my point, you don't need to know all of the mechanisms of how your body works, right? It's like, just thinking about it logically, would we find rapeseed oil in nature? Probably not, right? It's like, come on. So eating predominantly saturated fat just makes more sense. Chickens are out there. think I'm gonna make some coffee because I've been going nonstop. My neighbor actually came over this morning. I'm gonna get to the questions. Just give me a minute here to get warmed up. my, my neighbor was over and he helped me load up the barrel sauna. I've never used one actually, but I was just convinced to get one. So I'm going to set up that. It's called a steam sauna, and I'll be making a Academy video on it. There's a difference between dry saunas and steam saunas. They're both good. They just work differently. So make some coffee here real quick. Unit, this espresso machine, espresso/coffee machine. Excuse the dirtiness. It's been crazy nonstop here. I have this on my Amazon store. It's like $600-700. You can probably find them used, eBay, whatever. And this is going to be a little tricky because they actually packed up my tripod thing that I usually, balance the phone on, the phone stand, whatever that's called. So my apologies if this live is a little different. So yeah, this is a tamper that I used that didn't come with the machine. It was recommended by my friend Leo. It's called a Lux House, actually. Haus. I think it's German. A little patriarchy mug here. And there we go. So let's see what we got here. Have you heard about vitamin E and prostate cancer? If so, does selenium offset it? Yeah, I think it's all a balance. Vitamin E, as Adam Bergstrom says, is selenium. You're like, wait, how's a vitamin a mineral? It's chelated selenium. So there's a lot of scare stuff out there about everything, obviously. Right now with, I call it convid, just like fear porn everywhere. And, people would say, oh, Matt's using fear, right, to sell a CLF protocol. No, I'm using logic, right? It's like, obviously everyone's breaking down, right? You see your grandpa has Alzheimer's and, everyone's, stiff as a rock. They're turning into stone, can't bend. They're just falling apart. They got Alzheimer's. Grandpa has dementia. It's like, obviously, right, there's a point where it's not fear. You're just, okay, my family's breaking down. And a lot of people can see that, in their family members and their friends. So, but when it comes to like mainstream media, and I'll put, I'm going to froth this cream here. I'll put the nutrition, category in there. Google, right? Dr. Google. And you search, right? You do vitamin E benefits or vitamin E health. And, Healthline pops up, WebMD, Wikipedia, right? It's like all these like quote unquote authorities. I try not to blast your ears here. And yeah, you got a question, right? Like, what's the agenda here, right? Because if you type in omega-3 DHA on Dr. Google, it will recommend supplements to you, right? It'll have like, page after page after page of recommendations. So all the fear porn, whether it's about the jab, shedding and all that BS, it's not, ignore it. They're just trying to get your attention, and it's not worth it. So, okay, I'm gonna turn this off here. Yeah, the only downside with this machine is it's very loud. That's gotta do it. Okay, there we go. So let's see here. So vitamin E, so just to finish up that question, now there's not a ton of noise. Vitamin E and prostate cancer. You know what causes prostate cancer is it's actually omega-3 fatty acids. That's what does it. So, trying to stabilize the camera here. It's Pufa that causes prostate cancer. It's not vitamin E. Vitamin E is actually the antidote. If I had cancer, I would be utilizing vitamin E quite a bit, and especially the mixed tocopherol. Let's see here. What's your take on non-food allergies? So yeah, with allergies and with the immune system, there's things you could use short term as a benefit. And one thing that I've actually utilized with huge huge results is, where is it? Did they pack it up too? No, here it is. This one's amazing. Immunoglobulins, and you can actually get this in colostrum. It's just less concentrated. And these are even in milk, right? And so everyone's on the dairy-free thing, right? That's trending right now. And dairy is one of the best things you could have for your immune system because of the retinol, which loads copper into ceruloplasmin. And I think for the next live, I'll make my coffee first. So thank you guys for your patience. But yeah, dairy for the immune system is critical. And if you want to do the colostrum, or if you want to do the immunoglobulins, adding my maple syrup with my new container. My other one was too small. Try that out and see if that helps. Let's see. Trying to go back in the questions here. Yeah, spring pollen allergies, you can try raw honey, like raw local honey. I've heard some people have had a benefit from. What are your thoughts on at-home beauty devices that use microcurrents or radio frequency? Oh, that's all right. Clay masks are I would say one of the only things you need. Clay masks. I mean, I'm not like a skin expert or whatever, but clay masks and red light therapy are really the things to focus on with the skin. Light is so underrated. Before you buy a device that uses currents and stuff to improve your facial complexion or whatever. Just want to see a crazy thing out here. Let me flip this around here. Look at that. That's fun. And yeah, this is the view of my old spot. I keep raw milk in there for the chickens. They love it. Goat's milk. And yeah, the wasps are out. Never mind the dog, beware the owner. There's one right there. Those things are gnarly. They actually try to get me all the time. Pretty intelligent. Like, they will try to get you. Let's see. Questions always go away. I'm going to try to catch up here. Wow, way behind though. Congrats on the new place. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. What states, areas do you recommend for homesteads? Anywhere where the gun laws are good. That's a big one because, a lot of people think that's not a big issue, right? Oh, that's good. But once you get into firearms and carrying, especially when you go out, all these shootings, which I think are false flags. There's just one in Colorado. I have some friends out there really nearby, and when something like that happens, it hits home, and you're like, guns are pretty important. So I would prioritize where you move based on the gun laws. And obviously that could change, but if you can get them and you can get ammo, then do it, right? And if something changes, who cares? Because you have the stuff, right? So, yeah, because what good is having a homestead if it can be taken away from you, right? And that could be seen as a cynical thought process, but it's just real, right? People show up armed. It's like, okay, have it, right? You have no defense. So to me, homestead's cool. Having firearms and having that set up is more important. Let me try to set up a little thing here for you guys so I can get this going. Okay, that'll work. Let's see. The hypoallergenic filter on your site doesn't ship to California. Any advice? I would have it shipped to a friend and then ship it to you. Find a friend outside of California. I would do it. I'm just super busy, and I would require interest or commission. No, I'm just kidding. I'm too busy to do it, or else it'd help you out, Spencer. But I'm sure you have a friend outside of California. To ship it to them and then have them ship it to you. Magnesium. No, my new magnesium product will just be pill form. Anything you recommend for a cat eye infection? One of our cats has a very goopy eye that won't go away. Vitamin E, and if you can do the Shilajit powder from like Pristine Hydro on their food, that would be the way to go. Spencer says hello. Joe says drinking a golden goat milk with turmeric and carob and raw honey. Sounds pretty good. Spencer says biggest tips for mycotoxins apart from getting out of the environment. I was going to do IR sauna, carboxy, activated charcoal, bentonite clay, and oregano oil. I would use the Orega spray from North American Herb and Spice. That stuff kills mold and mycotoxins, and just spray that on the areas. And then of course use the hyper air filter. Those are my main two things. But yeah, oregano besides that is going to be the thing to use to mitigate mold. Joe says, Matt, I'm suffering from rosacea on my nose. Do you know what the skin on the nose correlates to? I'm up to 4 vitamin E's a day, currently hoping it will help. Have you tried red light therapy, Joe? That's probably something to use there. Also, niacinamide is huge for rosacea. 2, 4, 6 capsules a day. They're 500 milligrams capsules. Nicotinamide rosacea, just search that online and you'll be shocked. Thoughts on supplementing B1? Hearing people getting great results from thiamine, tetrahydro for a really long word. Yeah, thiamine's awesome. B1, thiamine. Big fan. I recommend it. Yeah, I actually used it when I learned about Ray Peat's work. And I learned about B1, B2, B3, because coming from the vegan world, it's all about B12, right? And there's an emphasis on pantothenic acid and pyridoxine and B5 and B6, and 5, 6, and 12 get the stage, but it's actually the first 3: thiamine, riboflavin, and most people take niacin, which sucks. Niacinamide, right? So 1, 2, and 3 are really powerful, and remember, B vitamins are water soluble, so they're used under stress, and yeah, that's why people get tremendous results from animal foods. It's because they haven't had their B vitamins their whole life, and then they're go on a carnivore diet, and they're like, wow, the fad diet cured me. It's like, no, the fad diet didn't. The B vitamins in there did. And of course, there's all these other things, amino acids, right? Which a lot of people are protein deficient, but it's largely the B vitamins that are tremendous for buffering stress. Let's see here. Someone said megadosing vitamin E will cause greater need for other fat-soluble vitamins. Yeah, there's also, again, fear. So if you're afraid of supplementing it, don't, right? I don't care. It's just my message is look at the context of how you grew up and how much vegetable oil you consumed. Because that stuff doesn't just leave you, right? You have to do certain things, like displace it with saturated fat, increase your metabolism, make sure you're getting choline in, which supports the detox process of the liver via glucuronidation. The liver needs glycogen as sugar to detoxify Pufa breakdown products, right? Lipofuscin. So, if you're afraid to take a supplement, don't take it, right? Because if you're on the fence and you're like, okay, this supplement might harm me or I'm afraid to take it, it probably will, because the placebo effect is real and what you believe about something will most likely happen, right? So that's why when I was taking algae oil, when I was doing shots of it, when I was selling it a couple years ago, 3-4 years ago, I was getting a benefit because it was placebo, because I felt like I was getting more benefit from the light, from the sunlight, from the full spectrum light, from the frequencies. And I probably was, right? Until I learned that it was harmful. And so, there's a balance, obviously. It's not all whatever you believe is true, but it's somewhere in between. And don't discount the placebo effect, especially the fear aspect of it. So I would say if you're afraid of vitamin E, just don't take it. Simple as that, Joe. But if you're dealing with conditions like skin conditions, brain fog, lipofuscin, age pigment, then probably want to look into infertility. Vitamin E was originally called the fertility vitamin. And infertility is really, the true pandemic right now. So what are your thoughts on 5G? We've got evidence it's being used as a covert weapon system. Yeah, I'm actually going to be sharing more on the Mitolife Academy about EMFs, because I actually, late last year, I attended someone's house. It's actually Richard Gage. He formed 9/11 Engineers and Architects for 9/11 Truth. He was the creator of that organization. I went to his house and I was there for a presentation, and the lady there was just super, what's the word? I could say crazy, but just very scared and just doomsday about EMFs and saying it's killing us, it's killing us. And I was there about to explode. I was just trying not to scream to the entire room and just lose it and flip the table, because it was zero solutions. It was all fear. And I was like, I could name 10 solutions right now for EMFs, where you could be in New York City on a 30-store apartment building and you'd be fine, right? Like completely fine. But people don't believe that's possible. And of course, the obvious solution is moving away from the insanity and moving out of the city. But you have a job, you have a family, most people cannot just get up and go, and that is fine, right? It's just you have to implement certain things so that you don't get a disease, and so you don't constantly getting zapped, right? And so you can actually recharge. One of the biggest negative effects of EMFs is that they affect your sleep. And if someone, like most people, are not mitigating EMFs while they're sleeping, that is where the issue is. Because if you're not sleeping, you can't heal. And that is where our body is meant to catch up and heal. And grounding, Magnetico, there's Blue Shield, there's Somavedic, there's molecular hydrogen, there's magnesium. These are all tools that I would use and prioritize, whichever one you implement based on affordability, practicality, all of that stuff. So, same as nutrition. It's not like a one size fits all with EMF mitigation. No choice clothing, the silver embedded clothing. I'm always wearing the underwear. I wear the shirt, the jacket, the joggers. That makes a huge difference, especially when I fly to California to visit family. It's night and day in how I feel if I'm wearing that clothing. And that to me has become the biggest mitigation. And it was a wake up call to me when my brother was driving us to get burgers, and along the freeway, along the I-5 in Southern California, I almost wanted to throw up. And I was like, whoa, okay, so it's a real issue, but we have solutions, right? It's not just doomsday. So it absolutely is a covert weapon. How deep you want to get with that, with mind control frequencies and all of that. There's probably some truth to it, but who cares, right? Mitigate it instead of just talking about the problem like a lot of people do. Got a follow request from that fake account I've reported. That's funny. Yeah. Tons of trolls lately. That's when you know you're doing something right. And yeah, just really quick thing on that because I don't want to give it a lot of energy. But if you have people that hate you or want to see you fail, use that energy, right? Because they're wasting their energy on you. They're completely wasting it. They're sending their energy towards you, and it's a very real phenomenon. So capture it and use it to fuel your cells. I just bought a house, a fully off-grid house. It's been a dream of mine for 10 years. And I partly used that energy from haters and from trolls to purchase this house and to get a lot of shit done. So, a lot of people will just try to fight back or whatever. Just ignore them, say thank you for the energy, and then buy a new home, buy a new car, work harder, and see them fail, right? Because you're actually getting stuff done. So that's all I'll say there. Any tips for hemorrhoids while repairing metabolism? Already cut out grains, starches, and having bone broth, gelatin daily. Glycine, company doesn't really matter, but I would get glycine capsules and do 3 grams a day. Usually at one capsule is like a gram, 1,000 milligrams. Start with 3, do 6, and keep moving up. Try to get up to 12 to 20 grams a day. I would say just increase that until you see results. Is your grounding sheet on your website? Not yet. I'm still working on that. I'm still designing the box. There's so much that goes into designing a new product. Jennifer says, besides sweating in the sauna, do you know any other ways to excrete phthalates? Ozone. Do you think donating blood can help with that also? Yeah, that's never thought about donating blood for plastic. That's pretty cool. That would make sense. The main 2 ways I know to do it is sweating in a sauna, like a dry sauna, far infrared, and O3 or ozone. There's actually studies on ozone breaking down plastic. So, remember, it's highly reactive, right? So obviously you want to have the copper coming in, you want to, Shilajit, all the stuff I always talk about. If all that's in place, you can look into the Sota water ozonator. I think I had an Academy video on that. And you can drink ozonated water if you want. And I don't think it would take much. It's more just a consistency thing. And I don't think drinking ozonated water, I think it actually can be extremely beneficial. It's probably underutilized for gut infections, drinking ozonated water. I'm not a fan of the ozone IV, rectal ozone, all that stuff. Yes, no, maybe in context, I guess. But for most people, the safest thing is to drink the O3 water. Let's see. Any tips for people who are having trouble sweating, even in an infrared sauna? I need to keep my coffee warm, so I'm just going to turn turn on the oven here. Hopefully it doesn't explode the mug. Any tips for people who are having trouble sweating? Yeah, so the pores are locked shut. And I've heard a lot of people having this issue. It's just consistency. So use the sauna frequently. And it might be every day. You know, for a while I was using the sauna every single day, and that was a huge benefit. Obviously, you need a home unit to do that because it's not practical unless you live down the street from a unit at a gym or something. But it's just consistency. I mean, you can do gua sha if you want, because that would help to push things out of the pores. And again, you don't need, you know, you can go on eBay and just search gua sha tool. A lot of them are made of jade, that stone. But again, you could use a credit card, an old credit card, really anything, just to scrape the skin, kind of like a flat surface. And they make ones that are sharp and they make ones that are blunt. I tend to gravitate towards the sharper ones. Like for years, I used the bullhorn spoon. Robert Cassar used to sell those. And that one I found to be the most effective. I think I actually still have it somewhere. But yeah, I would do gua sha and then just consistent sweating in the sauna. What are the top supplements that you recommend for a dog? Shilajit and vitamin E. Yep. And then if you want to pour gelatin or collagen on their food, like Satchery, this stuff is really high quality. You could do that. How long does it take minerals to come up? I've heard 1 to 2 years. I think there's too much context involved to say exactly. It really depends. But I think if you do everything right, if you drink filtered water, if you add in Shilajit, if you're getting the bicarbonates in, then it could be fairly quickly. Do my throat spray. I've been talking nonstop today. Here we go. I always plug this every single show. That's strong. Have you heard of molecular hydrogen increasing NADH? Did you get the stuff I sent out? Adam, I haven't been able to go to my box. I will probably next week. Thank you, by the way. I have heard of molecular hydrogen increasing, well, basically benefiting that ratio. Let's see. Nathan says, it could have been a coincidence, but my wife was like a week early on her period after being around her recently vaccinated aunt and cousins. We did also travel a lot, so that could have caused it too. Yeah, you know, I've barely looked into it just because I honestly think it's a waste of time. But the whole shedding thing, spike proteins, I think they're called, and, you know, all the raw primal people are getting all emotional about the terrain versus germ theory, and everyone's all just emotional, right? So, you know, I think, again, a lot of it's placebo. It doesn't really matter. Just live your life, eat animal foods, do the CLF protocol, get your bioavailable copper, get your retinol, get your animal protein, get your sugar, and you don't have to worry about all this crap, right? Joe says, trouble sweating can be thyroid, I think. Yeah, low thyroid could contribute. Should vitamin K be taken indefinitely? It could, absolutely. I mean, it really depends on your calcium load and how much calcium dysregulation you have. So actually, I started reading that book that I posted on my Instagram yesterday, the calcium, what's it called? You know, it's kind of like anti-calcium, anti-dairy. And it had some really interesting points about osteoporosis and calcium balance. And when you have excess calcium coming in, like a lot of people forget about the water supply, that is where it becomes a big issue. Because if you have floods of, you know, you're drinking tap water, you're drinking spring water, you're drinking well water, you're getting loaded full of calcium all the time, that will deplete your magnesium and vitamin K and other things, but largely those two. Magnesium and vitamin K2 go down the toilet. And so, you know, It depends how long you've been drinking that water. Are you still drinking it? There's a lot of variables. I'll probably be taking menaquinone 7, K2 forever with what I've seen in the research with mitochondrial health. It's actually a quinone, so it's similar in its effects, almost identical, in fact, to its effects of coenzyme Q10, but the active form of that is called ubiquinol or ubiquinone, and that has very powerful effects in the mitochondria for energy production. And so it's an electron donor. A lot of people don't know that. Vitamin K2 is an electron donor, and it'll actually fix mitochondrial defects at various parts of the electron transport chain. So it'll facilitate, if there's a kink in the armor, or more accurate way to say it, if there's inefficiency in the way that your mitochondria generate energy, vitamin K27 will go in there and assist that process. Do you have any recommendations to add to a gut, stomach, digestion stack, despite the normal things like raw carrot, probiotic, etc.? I heard dandelion root is good also. Just Thrive has a cool supplement called Gut, the number 4 Tify, so Gut Fortify. And that's a mix of proline, a lot of these non-inflammatory amino acids with a polyphenol complex. And so you take 4 capsules of that. I'm a really big fan of their newer supplements, like the Ultimate IgG and the Gut Fortify have become like 2 of my favorite supplements from them. And the Precision Prebiotic is pretty cool too. Those are probably my favorite 3 from Just Thrive, but check that one out. If you're looking for a stack for your gut health. Yeah, those are the main ones. You could also swallow the methylene blue from Troscriptions, or if you have the drops, you can just take it internally. But the lozenge is really cool. The troche, they're called. You don't have to keep it in your gum and cheek. You can actually swallow that whole thing if you hate the taste, like a lot of people do. And remember, it's originally an anti-malarial drug, so it's extremely antimicrobial. So if you have a gut infection, just pop one of those methylene blues. And I'd probably do, a fourth or a half. If you want to do a nuclear bomb, you could do a whole one. But remember, that's like 16 milligrams methylene blue, so that's a lot. Kellen says, where did you get your gas mask you shared? Please show us all the prep stuff, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do live streams with us. Of course, you guys paid for it, and I hope that you're getting value out of this. It's been, I'm trying to juggle everything, and this month has been quite the juggling act. Just organizing, getting ready to move my entire life, trying to, being in the woods, resetting up the internet. It's a whole... I'm waiting on Elon Musk. I signed up for Starlink. I paid the deposit, and so that will absolutely change my life out here. Make the connection a lot better, these things a lot smoother. But yeah, again, you guys paid for it, so I really hope that you are benefiting from this. And I guess if you're not, you could just leave. But I do put a lot of thought and energy into these videos and the live streams, so really appreciate you guys being here. And I'm always running out of ideas, even though I have a lot to talk about. So I really want to know what you guys want to see on here as far as videos. Like the last video of the month, the advanced video, is going to be, I just shot it when I was driving into town. I think it was yesterday, a couple days ago, on travel mitigation in the car. And it ended up being almost a 30-minute video where I'm just driving and I have the nasal cannula up my nose and I show you all the things that I use in my car for driving long distances. And yeah, I really like the devices, obviously, right? Mr. Gadget, but there's a purpose, right? And there's a place and there's a time for all of these tools. So it's not just strap as many things to your body as you possibly can and call yourself healthy. It's using them properly. And it's a first aid kit, right? like the Chi Palm I just posted on my site. You guys might not even know what I'm talking about. The Chi Institute, trying to get them on the show, but I learned about this from Shen Blossom. It's this handheld device that uses stochastic frequencies, sound waves, and it's a little basically speaker, and you could see it moving like this, and you could turn the machine up or down, and there's 3 different modes. There's balance, acute, and sleep. And you could even put it under your pillow. It runs for like 30 hours or something insane. Long story short, that device, it's just a little, handheld thing that you charge. It's a whiplash cure. If you get whiplash in a car, it's been used to close open wounds in horses, for really a lot of imbalances in the body, stress. I like to put it right on my thymus gland when I'm laying down. I'll probably make a video on that combo. I've been doing this stack. I really need to do it today. It's been a day. I put that on my chest, and then I listen to New Calm. I've been using their Ignite. They just released it a couple days ago. It's a 14-minute long. Basically, it's kind of like binaural beats, but you keep your eyes open. So versus the other New Calm where you wear the eye mask, I put headphones on, and then I'll actually lay under my Lucia light. So I have flashing lights. So I'm stacking 3 things. The Lucia light's very advanced. It's expensive, but just the New Calm and the Chi Palm, that combo, that stack is tremendous. I feel so good after I do that. So the gas mask, to answer your question, that was a big detour. One of my favorite things about Idaho are the antique stores. I love antique stores, and so is my fiance. And we have a lot of fun going to those. And 2 is military surplus stores. Those are so dangerous for me because I'll buy military helmets. I'll buy, the sniper outfit. That's the next thing on my list. Like in the movies, like that Leaf outfit. That's next on my want list at the military surplus store. But if you don't have any of those near you, then you could just go online, eBay or something. It's called an Israeli gas mask. And just be sure, because a lot of people don't do this, get extra filters for it. Because it's no good if you just have one filter. You want to have multiple. Spencer says, do you know? But yes, I will make prepping videos. Just trying to get my ducks in a row and just get organized with what I would want to share there. I do plan to do more like out in the field because we're near the backwoods here. And so, videos on ticks, videos on mosquito mitigation, on just, your everyday carry, on what I would recommend taking into the forest, on a hike. And this has been a lot of trial and error over the years because, I grew up in San Diego in Southern California in the desert, right? And I would go on hikes with friends and we would get bites and, different things would happen. And I would experiment with things in my bag. And one of the things that was very beneficial to me was colloidal silver, right? Which I speak out against now, but I speak out against oral consumption. It's a completely different animal to use topical colloidal silver. And it's amazing, especially like I'm going fully off grid, right? I'm partly off grid at this house, but at the new one, it's 100% off grid. There's no electricity. I'm generating it all with propane and with the solar system. And I think that's the direction we should be moving in, especially if you want sovereignty and food sovereignty and security. They can, as we saw in Texas recently, they can pull the plug at any moment, pull the plug on your power supply, pull the plug on your food supply, pull the plug on your water supply, right? So, and I'm still working on it, right? It's always a work in progress, but learning how to hunt, learning how to forage, generating your own energy, having water security, having your own water source. These are things that matter, right? It's not celebrity worship. It's not focusing on, the fear and the vaccine shedding and all this BS, right? It's focusing on the things that matter. And these are the things that matter because it supports human life, right? And obviously building a family is a good idea. And, you know, that whole thing. You guys were in a culture where cheating is encouraged. There's TV shows about that where promiscuity, can't speak, is trendy. And yeah, obviously certain things are under attack. And, you know, it's trial and error. You have to figure out, right, what makes sense to you and stuff. But for me, looking around at how society is, it's pretty obvious that I want to go a different direction here. And I'm really excited to raise super children, like children that are like I was raised with video games, and you know I spent time in the backyard with insects and nature, but I didn't learn like how to build a fire, how to hunt, how to forage. You know, I was just born in the matrix, right? Just plugged into the system. So to me, one of the most exciting things about thinking about having a family is like, wow, you know, I could start these kids off where I wanted to start, right? That's pretty cool. Spencer says, do you know what it means when you have to clear your throat a lot, almost like there's some mucus or something in there? Could be anything. Systemic enzymes are probably what I would go for. And remember that mucus is a defense mechanism, right? So obviously we need mucus, right? It's the barrier to the outside world. So our nasal passages, obviously, but then mouth to the anus, right? It's 40 feet of this tube, of this hose. And, you know, our nasal passages and mouth to anus, it's pretty much exposed to the outside world, right? And so there's this mucus barrier. And, you know, there's the raw vegan mentality I used to be in, the Arnold Ehret mucusless diet, the less mucus, the better, but it's a balance. And if you have excess mucus, it just means that your body is dealing with chronic inflammation. There's something deeper going on. Most likely it's iron overload. It's not dairy and the usual suspects of what they tell you. Joe says, is distilled water through a active charcoal filter full of acids? It is. I think it's probably better than tap water. You know, anything's better than tap water, most likely, but it is very aggressive water. So, you know, with water, just like food, I'm a big do your best guy. So, you know, I wouldn't stress out about it. Just work on upgrading your water over time and, you know, getting to a place where you want to be. Hopefully my coffee isn't boiling over here. Yeah, so I've actually had a lot of questions about this recently. I didn't know it was that big of a deal or that widespread. Enzyme therapy, so digestive enzymes, systemic enzymes, enzymes in general really help. Some people would say that's a Band-Aid fix. I don't think raw foods will do it. I think you need supplements to catch up, so to speak. Yeah, you know, you can utilize like I've been talked about. I'll make a Academy video on it. I pretty much own almost 100% of the entire Ancestral Supplements line of products. And there's a lot, you know, it's trending right now to sell liver supplements and organ meat supplements. But for whatever reason, recently my body was like, slam them. And so I've been enjoying prostate, pancreas. So these are basically desiccated organs from grass-fed cows. So pancreas, gallbladder, obviously liver. But the pancreas and gallbladder ones would be really good for people with BO. Because the pancreas has the enzymes and the gallbladder would help with digesting fats. Spencer says, your voice is so much deeper than a video I saw from you 4 years ago. Yeah, it could be testosterone, or it could be I've just been talking nonstop. Probably a mix. But yeah, getting sufficient protein in and carbohydrates and just supporting the metabolism is really huge for hormone balance. Jennifer says, besides systemic enzymes, what else would you recommend for bacterial biofilms? And would a Rife machine also get rid of biofilms? Good question. So wild oregano actually does dissolve biofilms. There is a huge list of things that do it. Those are my two favorites. Another one would be the Shen Blossom resins. The tree resins will dissolve biofilms. So one of my favorite things to forage out here is spruce tree resin, but pine tree resin as well. Dr. Cass Ingram's company, Purely Wild, he sells tinctures of it. Or Shen Blossom, aka space Hinoki. It's a combination of 4 resins with frankincense, I believe, or 3 resins and frankincense. So all those are ideas. Yes, a Rife machine. That's a good question. I'm not too sure if it can. I think it does penetrate them, but I don't know if it gets rid of them. I guess indirectly it would. What are your number 1 recommendations for increasing testosterone in men? The Grow Pair protocol. I think that might be an intermediate or advanced video. Things that come to mind are Ancestral Supplements MoFo formula. It's the desiccated testicle formula. Elk Antler Velvet from Vigor is really good. Pine Pollen Tincture from Crucial 4. Some type of aromatase inhibitor, whether that's nettle root, tincture or capsule, aspirin, tobacco, alcohol. Of course, small amounts, high amounts have the opposite effect. All those things. Tongkat Ali, long jack is the usual one that men go for, and that's okay. I prefer the other things, and really Shilajit, that was originally known as Indian Viagra, but it's really the minerals that support the body. It's like the scaffolding, right, in a building. And enzymes can't work without minerals, and vitamins can't work without minerals. So minerals are like the foundation. So, the place to start would probably be like Shilajit, Panacea tablets, and then add in the other things. Usually low testosterone men, they're just severely mineral deficient, and you can't get it from the food. Andrew says, why is Siberian Shilajit better than Himalayan? I like it better because you'll notice most of the supplements are coming from the Himalayan mountains. And there's a lot of fly-by-night Shilajit companies out there now, just, marketing, and they just got into the Shilajit game, within the last year. And it's kind of trending. And I would say I'm probably partly responsible for that. And I've been taking it daily for like 8 years. And it's hard to understand how important it is unless you've been taking it long term. So there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation out there about Shilajit. Like you should cycle it, you should take days off, and whatever, right? Use your intuition. If you feel like taking a day off of a supplement, that's fine. But when you really get into like the 3, 4, 5 year, 6 year mark of taking Shilajit regularly, it's not just something you take for 6 months or a year and you're like, oh, I'm decalcified, I'm remineralized, my brain works again. Not to say I still have work to do, obviously, with my brain, but long story short, we don't understand the implications of the biogeochemical cycles being altered. of the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle, and the acid rain, and the biosludge, and the tap water, all the food you've eaten your entire life has not been ideal. And in fact, it's actually been harmful. It's not just mineral deficient, it's mineral toxic. And it's creating mineral imbalance. And every time you go out to eat, it is contributing to that. So I know I went on a detour from your question, but try both. I personally feel the Siberian Shilajit from Russia more than the Himalayan Shilajit. I do use the Live Pristine powder in my coffee, and that's from the Himalayas. But different regions of the world are going to have different flora and fauna. So you're going to have different organisms in that Shilajit product, different compounds. And to me, I feel more of a nootropic benefit from the Russian Shilajit than the Himalayan. What would be your protocol after having to take antibiotics? Spore-based probiotics is pretty much all you would need, in my opinion. So, you know, I sell them under Mitolife, just the probiotics, and they're different from the refrigerated ones. You know, for anyone that's new here, they're just room temperature probiotics. And then, you know, sauerkraut. I wouldn't do kombucha personally, especially store-bought. If you're making it yourself, that's a different story, but you can overdo those things. But I would say sauerkraut, you know, the raw carrot, getting that fiber in would be really helpful. Angelia says, my mom has idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, which she was given about another 6 months to live. Is this genetic or is it just lifestyle, iron overload, and Pufas? Yeah, I don't buy the genetic thing too much. I mean, that could contribute somewhat, but if it were me with pulmonary fibrosis, I would use systemic enzyme therapy. I would use, you know, 9 to 12 capsules a day on an empty stomach, maybe 16 capsules a day. Doesn't take much, right? I mean, you would think 6 months to live, you need an entire bottle a day. You could, but you can experience, you know, Herxheimer's effect from that. So if I had it, I would do, you know, about that amount and see what happens. Systemic enzyme therapy is, you know, doctors have gotten in trouble talking about it, like life-threatening trouble, because they work. And they have been used in cancer therapy and many other therapies. Jamie says, finally eat meat after 11 years, thanks to you. That's awesome. Zachary says, what is the difference between Mitolife Shilajit and Pristine Nutrition? So the Pristine one is, they do have a resin and then they have a powder. They're both from the Himalayan mountains. Mitolife is from the Siberian mountains. So again, I like a little of both. I mean, in my coffee, I put Shilajit powder, but that's about, you know, I'll put it in my bath as well, but that's all I do. Magnesium flakes, I have that on my Amazon store, or no, I think on my Matt Blackburn store. Enviromedica sells them. Joe says, bro, I do a lot of red light therapy and it doesn't do a lot, but the niacinamide seems legit. I've used some topically. That's cool. Yeah, I feel red light therapy even if I do 5 minutes. So I think it depends on what you have going on. Spencer says, sorry for the spam. I have to work now, but we'll rewatch later. Love what you're doing for the community in my life. Your new place is amazing, and I'm so happy for you. You seem happier too. Awesome. Thank you. Kellen says, so we will not need to use Crucial 4 Mag in the soda stream. Yeah, I mean, I would do both. I like the magnesium bicarbonate and the pill form. I take both. I do actually 3. So I'm crazy. So I do the magnesium bicarbonate liquid that I make myself. I do the pills, which coming soon. And then I do the sensory deprivation tank, which again is, not everyone has access to, but that is magnesium sulfate and magnesium chloride. To me, that is the holy grail, to have all of them coming in. And you always see ads, right? I think JP Sears is repping one magnesium, and this is the best form, or it's multiple forms, or it's slow release, or whatever. It's not. The only thing you need to know with magnesium is avoid oxide and carbonate. That's it. And citrate, those three. Oxide, carbonate, and citrate. Everything, magnesium orotate, glycinate, threonate, malate, taurate, whatever, right? Doesn't, just get it in, but you have to get enough of it. And that's usually the issue with people with magnesium. They're not taking enough. And sometimes you'll need, it depends on your burn rate. Maybe I'll do some academy videos just on magnesium because it's not well understood, but the doses are insane that you need to actually catch up. Like, I've been taking it for years and my MAG RBC levels were still not optimal. What does that tell you? That tells you a lot about what's going on, right? Iron overload, lipofuscin, calcification, all of this increases your body's requirements for magnesium. So you need really high dose. Why do some people have a faster metabolism than others? I would say there is a little bit of a genetic component there. In general, children have faster metabolisms, and then as a human being ages, the metabolism slows. And really smart people like Dr. Ray Peat say that is one of the primary reasons why we age. Like, that's the contributing factor to aging. Like, the number one is that the metabolism slows, and when the metabolism slows down, repair slows down, and damaged proteins and lipids are not recycled properly, and so you get graying of hair and wrinkles, and of course there's minerals and everything else is part of it, but that makes sense to me. Joe says, I love vitamin E, I'm megadosing it. That's awesome. Yeah, and experiment with the dose. I mean, you might just need one a day. Just find your dose that works for you and then be open to adjusting it based upon your needs. Robert says, what can be the cause of bad metallic taste in the mouth? Sounds like heavy metal poisoning, Robert. Could be. Could also have some gut stuff going on. I would make sure you're on magnesium and Shilajit, and then possibly add in organoliving silica, which is liquid silica to displace aluminum. Yana says, what are your thoughts on this Idea Labs Solban topical product? It has niacinamide, caffeine, aspirin, succinic acid. Yana, I haven't tried that one. I have some of his products. I'm not too familiar with that one, but it sounds good to me. Any dark circle tips you may have? It's my understanding that's related to the liver under the eyes. So I would say increase the sugar, whether that's fruit, potatoes, honey, or white sugar. Just make sure that you are getting sufficient protein too. Sorry for the jerky camera here. I'm frying my hand because I don't have a stand here, but try to keep it stable. Do you possibly have any assays of what exactly is in Shilajit? Lauren, that should be this week because, again, social media, it's just stupid battlefield. Everyone jealousy and challenging me and yada yada. So recently there's been a rumor going around about Shilajit and heavy metals. I've bought cheap powder. I'm going to say this. The stuff that I sell with Mitolife is not cheap. I'm not getting it from China or anything like that. It's directly imported from Russia, from the source. So the issue with Shilajit contamination you're not really going to get with resin products. You're going to get it with the powdered products because oftentimes they'll mix in dirt, they'll mix in rat feces, and it's like a drug dealer cutting down drugs, right? And so you can't do that with the resin, right? It's a resin. You can't mix in dirt and make it stick, right? So again, it's a fear thing. When I was living in my RV like 4 years ago, I bought a kilogram of the powder and I almost went through the whole kilo and I got sick. I had like the flu after like 2 weeks of taking that. And I know it was that. I was probably consuming feces because I was like, let me try it. It's so much cheaper to buy it here. Let me try it. And it was contaminated. Probably with metals too. It kind of had a metallic, smell to it. So, yeah, I will post an updated lab analysis of Mitolife Panacea within the next week, hopefully sooner. It's almost done. Yana says, any other vitamin E you may recommend besides Mitolife? Yana, try Tocovit. Georgie's is really good. Angelia says, I up my fat and carbs. I'm getting fat fast. Haven't gotten rid of Pepsi, Hershey bars, but starting to have less cravings. You said 12-hour fasting is bad, right? Need to get rid of this garbage. Yes. If you want to get rid of the garbage, you sweat in a sauna. Drink some milk, drink some orange juice, eat salt, white salt. That is a way to speed it up. If you want to speed up detoxification, there are some very safe ways to do it. And sweating in a dry sauna is the big one. Fasting is the last thing you want to do. Let me see if this cooled down here. Joe says, how to upgrade distilled water. On my Amazon store, actually I have under minerals, it's the Trace Mineral Research. It's the blue bottle. It's chloride minerals, ionic chloride minerals, but you can add some drops to your distilled water. I think for a gallon, it's just like 4 drops. Like that bottle will probably last you 3 months at least or more. Angelia says, Hershey bars said they had cocoa butter, so I thought they were safe until I really looked into it. OMG, I was eating 2 king size a day. Vegetable oil is hidden in the cocoa butter. Yeah, I personally think a lot of cravings are parasite related. And yeah, once you clean up the system, they will, for the most part, leave you. There's still some creatures hiding in the closet. But yeah, the cravings will naturally go away as you start to rebalance the body. Chocolate bars aren't bad. I would just find one that is relatively clean. Let me see if I still have the ones here. No, I don't. But maybe in the next month or two, I'll share. There's a clean coffee chocolate bar that you can buy. There are levels to this, so you don't have to give up stuff, right? If you like popcorn, make it yourself, right? There's upgrades. Lauren says, would you mind showing us the throat spray you just used? Yes, it is called Protect. There we go. From Shen Blossom. And I used to do demos at Costco, 10-hour workdays. This saved my life. I should actually do another spray right now. Wow. Yeah, it's actually a mixture of mustard seed, chive, winter hollow, garlic, pearls, onions, scallions, tons of stuff, ginger. Whoa, that's strong. All it takes is one. Do you know of any supplements that children should not be taking? No, they could pretty much take all the same ones. Maybe dissolve it all because you have to take it whole. You have to swallow the capsule whole. Probably be a little careful with that because it can get caught in their throat. But they don't need to take that one. If that's an issue. I read Hershey chocolate bars are the terrible bastard children of chocolate and corporate frugality when in doubt. Yeah, I mean, I would throw them out myself. Stacy says, what gadget that you bought has had the biggest effect on your health, sauna, etc.? Definitely the sauna. Yeah, that's the number one. That and the red light, I'd say those are pretty equal. Uh, you know, the light aspect of health is so overlooked. And what light can do for you is huge. As I've said, you know, the far infrared sauna, the dry sauna, yeah, you're sweating. So you're getting out contamination, you're getting out plastics, you're getting out heavy metals. But the biggest effect of being in a sauna is that you're basically affecting the water around your cells. It's called exclusion zone water. You're, solid, liquid, gas, and then gel, fourth phase of water. You're shifting the water in your body to the gel-like phase. And that gel-like phase can actually kick out toxins. It could actually hold a charge. It could actually absorb light better. So it's a cumulative effect as you get exposed to this long wavelength, higher than 1200 nanometer light, what we call far infrared. The more you use it, the more you create a battery in your blood. And the more you create a battery in your blood, the more charge you can hold. The more charge you can hold, the more stress resilience you have, the more energy you have. Really, the better everything works. Your cells communicate better. Everything works better. You sleep better. You get less damage done from the lipofuscin you have in your tissues. You age slower. You retain memories more. You bounce back. I mean, everything improves. Like, this is so foundational. And yeah, you can go out in the sun, but you still get that UV light that you can overdose on. And there's context there with your redox potential and where you're at and the stuff that's stuck in your tissues and your lipofuscin and your Pufa and your iron. And there's so many factors going on. Not saying the sun is bad, but you just have to use it intelligently because you can overdo it. But with red light therapy in the sauna, in my opinion, you can't overdo it. And it's one of the best shotgun things you could do to improve your health systemically. Like we got questions earlier, the nose rosacea, allergies, you name it. Light. All about light. And, if you can't afford a sauna and a red light, obviously, yes, go out in the sun. But prioritize early and late sun. So if you're going to go out midday, noon to 3, limit your exposure and start slow. Because if you overdo it and you haven't been out in the sun, then you get out there, it will hurt you. So, 10 minutes for a week, and then 15 minutes, and then 20 minutes, and slowly titrate your way up. But, taking vitamin E before you go out there, using red light therapy before you go out there, this is what really matters to improve your health. It's because you can take all the supplements and all the things, but if you are getting exposed to the wrong wavelengths of light at the wrong time and you're not getting the right wavelengths of light ever, then you cannot recover from whatever health condition you're experiencing. Joe says, currently using a distiller through a charcoal pouch. Yeah, Joe, it's my understanding it doesn't take out the acids. So eventually you want to, it's a system that uses deionization. It's called cation and anion resin filters. I'm still designing from scratch a Mitolife filter. There's nothing like it on the market at all. It's completely built from the ground up from scratch. And it's going to be an under-counter drinking water filtration unit. That's why I've been a little quieter on the academy for the last couple of months, is because I've been putting tons of energy into back and forth with suppliers and with parts manufacturers and building this from scratch has been a lot of work, but I'm working on it. The goal is still by the end of summer to come out with the drinking water filter. And it's better than anything I've seen on the market. Got a Magnetico due to studies showing magnetic fields, accelerated bone remodeling to help with the palatal expansion I'm doing. I think using it long term would be harmful. I mean, long term would be, I would say, more than 3-4 years, and that's what I was doing. I would do an assessment of your sleep, and you could use the Oura Ring, or you could just be intuitive. 3 to 4 years down the road, maybe 3 years down the road, and if your sleep is off, then take it off your bed or sleep in a different bed and see if you sleep better. But to me, the Magnetico is excellent to use, for a 2 to 3 year mark. Dump the metals, right? Use it as a detox, and even cycle it if you want. Right now I'm just grounding and that feels better, but I believe that you can overexpose yourself to static magnetic fields, especially of that strength, used chronically, and that was the 20 Gauss. So maybe the 5 Gauss wouldn't be bad. But there's all these variables, right? Like, do you live in the city, right? What's your exposure to heavy metals? Because if you stop them coming in, then do you really need a Magnetico constantly? Probably not. Best way to boost circulation is with light. Dr. Gerald Pollack, in his book, The Fourth Phase of Water, talks about how literally just infrared light can move basically the lymphatic system, increase blood flow, because a lot of people will go straight to exercise or, walking or whatever it is. That's all good as long as you don't overdo it. But the safest way to do it is with far infrared light, like in a sauna, and red light, visible red light, and near and mid infrared light. Basically all the reds, right? Near, mid, far, and visible red. That's how you boost circulation. That is the best way to boost your circulation. I would like a video on nutrition for drug users. I have family members that need help, and I know nutrition is key. The nose breathing videos are amazing also. Yeah, I don't know if you're talking about pharmaceutical drugs or recreational drugs. If we're talking about pharmaceutical drugs, which I assume you are, Dissolve-It-All and Shilajit are proceed with caution. But vitamin E and vitamin K2 and niacinamide and spore-based probiotics and enzymes, very, very safe. But, and there's some caveats there. Vitamin E in general will thin the blood, and vitamin K will in general increase blood coagulation or blood clotting. The clotting factors are vitamin K dependent. So, if someone's on clotting medication or blood thinning medication, you probably don't want a megadose, but is a little bit going to hurt? In my opinion, no. But always consult your doctor, blah, blah, blah. Do you still view the Magnetico as a suitable EMF mitigation strategy? Still believe in the natural depletion of Earth's magnetic field, or suspect that's BS? Yeah, I think I question, what we've been told about, not only human history, but the Earth's history. And, I think people like to try to figure it out, which I think is kind of impossible. People get lost with the shape of the Earth, and, it's flat, it's round, it's oblong, it's whatever. And they think they know exactly how old the Earth is. And I think maybe there's certain things we're not meant to know, right? We're like a species with amnesia, right? Graham Hancock says. But I do think that the Magnetico can be a very helpful tool in, let's say if you live in New York, you live in LA, absolutely, you know, do you want to use an earthing sheet in Los Angeles, California? Get slammed, right? That silver is an antenna, in my opinion. And there's tons of dirty electricity in the LA sidewalk, under the sidewalk, flowing through the earth under Los Angeles. So it's context, right? It's always context with everything in life. But with EMF mitigation especially, I would use the Magnetico if I lived in an apartment in a congested city with a high population density. So I think it has its place. But as far as anti-aging, lately I've been kind of returning back to basics, back to simplicity. Yes, devices are very useful, you know, especially dealing with potentially nanotechnology and you know, geoengineering spraying and all of the. We're up against a lot, obviously, right? Airborne viruses spraying in the skies, heavy metal spraying, aluminum, barium, strontium. Obviously, you know, we're not in Kansas anymore. So, you know, it's about, to me, it's about experimenting and finding the tools that work. My first Magnetico, when I learned about it, I drove, I think it was like 4 hour round trip, picked it up on Craigslist used. I think it was a 10 Gauss, and I paid the guy like $700. And I hooked it up in my RV, and I slept like a baby for a year. And then, you know, within the last 2 months, my sleep was not too great. And I just started to like look at my Uller pads, you know, my Chili pads, my Magnetico, the sound pollution, huge magnetic field. I'm just like, maybe it's time to switch things up. So I took off all the Uller pads. There were just 3, weighted blanket, and then 1 for each side of the king bed. Way less sound pollution, right? I'm out here in the woods. Why am I blasting myself with sound while I sleep? And then I took off the 20 Gauss magnetic field, which is 40 times the Earth's magnetic field. And I'm just back to silver sheet with the grounding rod in the earth, and sleeping so much better. So kind of hard to get going today. It's been nonstop. So down in my coffee here, and actually I'm going to take a moment to show you guys this. Adrenal, prostate, of course, some NAD power. This is what I've been telling you guys about. Pancreas, MoFo formula, testicles, really fun. This is the gallbladder. This is the thyroid. Got some beef tallow. I know there's so many bottles. Got the thymus, which is really good for immune issues. I told you I have all of them pretty much. Beef organs, which is liver, heart, kidney, pancreas, spleen. And then the lung. And some of these are just one capsule, right? Like the lungs, one capsule. The adrenals, one capsule. I think that's all of it. And of course, Mitolife oyster. But yeah, all these are amazing. And, you know, if I had to prioritize, probably be this one, you know, because it has the complex. And, you know, if you have energy issues, probably want to do the thyroid one. If you have immune issues, histamine, probably the thymus one. Digestive issues, you want to do the gallbladder and the, where is it? Pancreas, wherever that is. There it is. And respiratory, might want to try the lung. And this is based on the, you know, like treats like kind of idea. Reproductive issues, prostate, and MoFo, which is desiccated testicle. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, big fan of these. You know, they're a little pricey, but the bottles last forever. And have a steak plus this, you know, with some milk or some carbs, some honey, and see how you feel. Yeah. Also been experimenting with this one. I think this is often overlooked. I'll probably make a Academy video on this. Not this product, but just the basic idea of potassium bicarbonate, salt, and whole food C. My friend Lauren, let me flip this around. My friend Lauren, I'm actually having her back on my podcast in a few weeks. Innate Functional Nutrition. She always posts about the Adrenal cocktail, and it's coconut water, orange juice, and salt. And if you want to add potassium bicarbonate in there, and that can kind of prep someone's body for donating blood. And it's used in Morley's root cause protocol, and that is a good foundational thing. I think a lot of people just have electrolyte imbalance, and they're, everyone's deficient in everything, right? But they're especially deficient in magnesium, potassium, and sodium, because those minerals go under stress. Just got my Pristine Hydro Portable, waiting for the shower head. I'm super sensitive to some supplements, so nice to have a video about the best basics to get started. Awesome. Any good resources on the true history of Confederacy and slavery? I suspect, like most historical narratives, we're spoon-fed that BS too. Yeah, I forget the name of the YouTube videos that I found, but they were really good. They were short. And yeah, it's my understanding it was not about, it was the opposite of what we heard, right? Because it was like, ideally, it was, the mainstream story was that the South was pro-slavery, right? And the North was against it, and the North won, and that's awesome. But it's actually the reverse. And yeah, there's a lot of BS about that whole story. And of course, the race baiting, right? They just get people emotional about race wars. And obviously race wars are BS, right? It's to divide humanity and to divide and conquer. So just remember, yeah, history was written by the winners. So everything you've been taught is likely flipped 180. Dissolve It All makes my skin glow in my face. Do you think that's the vitamin C, even though I eat fruit? That's awesome, Joe. It's probably the combination because, yeah, it has an effect on collagen, and getting out that fibrosis is really important. Did you say the little stream tent saunas are really bad because of EMFs? Yeah, I would, until you can invest in a sauna, I would find a gym and use theirs. I would not buy a couple $100 cheap sauna. Therasage, I have a discount code with them. I think their tent sauna is a little more affordable, maybe around $700 with my Blackburn code. And they have a black tent sauna that is very good. Stacy says, someone dealing with daily hives, what could it be? All right, let me get my hand burning here. Daily hives, what could it be? I'm not sure, actually. I would implement some of the things I've talked about and see if that helps. Niacinamide and vitamin E, I would focus on. Lauren says, did you put the Shilajit powder in your coffee grounds before you brew it? Oh, I mix it into the finished one. Yep. Nathan says, let me get a drink of water. My voice is going. Whoa. Okay. We're back. Let me see. Live chat. I'm really trying to catch up with questions here. Okay, I'm almost caught up, I think. Is it a myth that you shouldn't drink water with food or carbonated food with water? I think it's a myth. I think it's all context related. And, I'll have Mexican Coke with my meal sometimes, especially when I go out and have a burger and fries. And actually, they were out the last time, and so now I'm bringing this with me because this is a digestive aid. It's phosphoric acid, right? And it's not high fructose corn syrup. It's cane sugar and phosphoric acid. It's a digestive aid. And a lot of people have low stomach acid, right? So that's when you get infections. Let's see if my chickens are out here. Is nettle leaf also an aromatase inhibitor? No, it's only the root, I believe. Zachary says, when it comes to red light therapy, does it matter where you get the red light on your body? For example, I usually lay in bed at night with it on my stomach for 30 minutes. Yeah, hit the torso. That is the place to focus on. So all your organs, you know, really focus on the torso area. Oh, look what we have here. This is a little Lyra. I don't know if my connection will lose up here, but just getting ready to move. It's one of her favorite spots. But yeah, it's funny when I turn on the red light, actually, she goes nuts, and she'll, animals know. If you have a dog or a cat, just getting, you know, turning the red light on, you'll see the Okay, sorry about that, guys. Are we back? Hopefully at the new house, the connection's better. Let's see. My daughter has cervical cancer. It's the size of a large olive pressing against the kidney. Best nutrition for her. She took 1 glass of magnesium bicarbonate and her pain was gone. Yeah, I mean, the usual suspects, magnesium deficiency. I would definitely get her on desiccated liver. You know, the capsules are probably the most practical way to go. I like Satchery. They actually have a really good one here. And, you know, maybe give her like 12 a day of these. It's on my website, my Matt Blackburn site. This is what I would do. Definitely hit the magnesium hard. And usually with cancer, there's that iron overload, which is creating oxidative stress, which is contributing to infections and organ failure and all that stuff. So Nathan says, I feel weird after taking living silica. Could that be detox? Yeah, most likely. A lot of people have aluminum poisoning and they just don't know it. I read a PubMed article that said silica breaks both strands of the DNA. Can you tell, EMFs do that. Can you tell me what that means? I thought it was bad, a flow agent, but you recommend. Yeah, it depends. I mean, again, a lot of fear porn. So don't fall for the fear. You know, people are hyper focusing on the wrong things. So that's a big issue because that distracts us from looking at the right things. So silica, you know, it's a component in glass, which I think is why it gets, you know, fear. And of course the form matters and all of that. But even if it's the wrong form, take Shilajit and you don't sweat it. The organo living silica, the liquid one, is a liquid form of silica that was developed by a really smart guy, I believe in Spain, that did research on that specific form and found it had huge effects for farm animals, for humans, and it's very close to silica to aluminum. I forget, one's a cation, one's the anion, and the valence electrons are pretty much identical, and your body basically can't tell the difference. And so when you take liquid silica, it will actually take the place of aluminum. Similarly to how when you take bone broth or glycine, it will push out glyphosate. Let's see. ETA and estimated price for both your upcoming undercounter and whole house. The whole house is going to be about $10K, give or take, and the undercounter will be about $13, $14K, I believe, give or take. Still eat liver raw? Yes, after I freeze it. Current opinion on parasite risk consuming raw organ meats. Fear-mongering or genuine concern? Yeah, I think if you have some type of protocol, you know, like I like Mountain Detox, you know, for 3 months, and then the Hinoki here, you know, both of those, and then you're pretty good. Um, you know, smoke cigars, certain things like that. But I think you should have some type of an anti-parasite protocol in place. A woman actually just messaged me. She sent me pictures of her worms, and that came out in an enema. And I'm not squeamish with that stuff. I'm like, yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff over the years. And she was like, yeah, look at these worms that came out with one enema, you know, a warm water enema, just nothing in it, just warm water. So worms are real, and you know, I don't believe that they're symbiotes. I believe that they're actually stealing nutrition and they're harmful, especially when you have an overload of them, which you will have if you just live on raw oysters and you live on, you know, raw fish and all these things. It's inevitable. So, you know, I get a lot of flack for smoking cigars, right? When, you know, Matt, you're a health educator and you're smoking, you know, that's, you know, what are you doing, right? It's funny, actually, funny story. One of my movers, I'm using kind of like a family, and their daughter, the woman's daughter that's helping me move. They packed all my stuff in this house. Their daughter has a learning disability, and I was talking to them here in this room, and I'm like, yeah, I think my goat had a parasite. And like the little girl with a learning disability chimed in, and she's like, you know what's good for parasites? And I was like, what? And she was like, tobacco. I was like, whoa, this little girl's smart, right? So it's well known that tobacco is a very powerful anti-parasitic. They use it in farm animals. It's in the old 1800s Farmer's Almanac. Again, you know, very powerful. Do you need it? No, there's alternatives. You know, even tequila. I actually plan to still do a advanced video on alcohol and tequila specifically, but this is how much I've used since I got it. And yeah, actually tequila is a very powerful anti-parasitic. Let's see here. Where are we at? Okay, there we go. Lowish platelets. Yeah, I would try the CLF protocol and see if that balances out, and also the light. There's a huge effect of light on the platelets. Let's see. Crucial for salt, drinking Amish grass-fed milk. Yep, that sounds good. Would it be okay to open dissolve it all? Nope, you have to take it in the capsule for it to work. Otherwise, it just gets used up in the stomach. Combo, I've heard of it. I haven't tried it. Constant craving of wanting something sweet or chocolate after eating a meal. What would be your recommendation? Sugar. Make your own homemade gummies and have some of those. Just do white sugar straight up, put sugar in milk. You know, as long as you're getting sufficient animal protein, sugar is great. Usually a craving for something sweet is your body wants glucose. And what is white sugar but sucrose? It's 50% fructose and 50% glucose. Lauren says, do you recommend sunscreen of any kind? Beauty Counter is a decent one. Basically, you want a zinc, just a clean zinc oxide based one. Lemon, baking soda, and water. Yeah, I think that could be beneficial. Orthotropics. I'm not. I haven't heard of that. My Aura Ring sleep score has improved since removing the Magnetico and Uller. Yes. I was talking about meth addiction. Yikes. Yeah, there's some of those up here. Yeah, magnesium, Shilajit for those type of drugs are really important. Alejandro, what's going on? Does a single infrared light have any positive effects? Yes, absolutely. Lauren says, what is your opinion on the best source of whole food vitamin C? Fruit, berries, potatoes. These are all great. What's your opinion on megadosing acerola cherry powder? Yeah, you can do that. I've just gotten all of my supplements, nicotinamide, vitamin E, Shilajit, vitamin K, probiotics, dissolve it all, and then the liver capsules, beef tallow. Got a lot of stuff. Is there a protocol to take this? No, I mean, I would say take them all with meals pretty much. Make sure that you have the foundation of food down. You know, I basically eat just for now, steak, potatoes, eggs, milk, cheese, sauerkraut, raw carrot. It's the majority of stuff that I eat. So yeah, I mean, make sure you have that food foundation down. You know, rice, I do wild rice. Let's see here. What could help my facial skin? Vitamin E and niacinamide are huge for skin health, especially the face. I forgot I have my milk in here. Need some fuel. Been fasting. TRS spray. It's okay. I would rather use Shilajit. You know, TRS is kind of like multi-level marketing style. Let me actually show you guys how I do this with my milk. So, you know, some people would say that's overkill, but I add some sugar to my raw goat milk and keep this container in here. I just keep refilling that. Probably ended up just taking it from here in the future for simplicity's sake. But yeah, sugar is a fuel, and especially when you're under stress. And actually, since today is crazy, been going nonstop, I'm actually going to take some thyroid hormone. So you guys probably saw my post on this, Sinomel. This is actually T3, and usually I just take one, but I'm going to take a whole tablet of 25 micrograms, and this actually helps your body utilize sugar or burn the fuel that you're ingesting. So, you know, sugar, thyroid, niacinamide, vitamin E, all of these things help, like with the platelets and a lot of these questions you guys are asking. You know, I'm not about really snipering too much health conditions. You can shotgun it with all the stuff I talk about and see results. And a lot of it's just implementing everything at once. A lot of it comes down to the metabolism being messed up. How long would you let your cat sit in front of the red light? As long as they want. As long as I would just keep it on. Where do you get the Mexican Coke? Costco. Can I get the real sugar Pepsi now? Yeah, don't do Pepsi. I would just switch to Mexican Coca-Cola. Was that 14K? No, $1,300, $1,300 for the under counter. Multiple YouTubers have done tear aparts of the Blue Shield, which shows 2 LEDs blinking inside with basic circuitry. How would this produce scalar waves with multiple cancellation frequencies with the power to cancel out high powered? They do not address the theory on their website. Yeah, so it's one of those things where there's not a lot of research on it, unfortunately. I think they've done like non-published, experiments with the technology. A guy in New Zealand, Mark Langdon, I think his name is, developed an algorithm that they put into a computer chip, and then that will actually generate or set the frequency that is produced that's sent out with the blue light. So yeah, it's one of those things where you could think it's placebo, but I've had too many friends reach out and say that, like, for example, I had a friend in Canada, and she said her dad plugged it in and she almost died. She felt suicidal. She wanted to commit suicide. And you'd say, whoa, why would I want something like this in the house? But that just goes to show you that it's doing something, and it's not just blinking lights in the circuitry chip, like you said, if it made someone want to commit suicide, right? So it obviously had, and this is someone dealing with traumatic brain injury, right? I've also heard from another friend that when she plugged in her unit, her roommate that was really on drugs and crazy, didn't want to be in the apartment anymore, that they basically left. So there's a lot of stories like that. And it's one of those things, again, where, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But to me, it works. And to me, it's real. And to me, there's no placebo, because just story after story after story of people plugging it in, and then the other people in their space. Like, for example, my family, I kept upgrading their unit. Right now they have the Ultra, the $1,200 one, their priciest one. And each time I moved up, like I started them with a cube and then I moved them up, they all felt weird for a few days. And my family is not, I'm the black sheep. They don't, whenever I do something new, they're just like, okay, Matt's doing it again, right? And so they didn't think, Soma Vedic, the same thing. They're just like, okay, this is like a glowing orb that you plug in. It's just a cool little light. Again, Soma Vedic, I gave them the, I forget, their second to highest unit. Can't remember what that one's called. And they detoxed for a few days. So, believe what you want to believe, implement what you want to implement. That's pretty much all I have to say with that. Don't. Any recommendations for thyroid storm and extreme depression, anxiety, postpartum? I would support the liver for sure. A lot of people focus on the thyroid and they neglect the liver, which converts thyroid hormone T4 to T3. So that's, again, sugar, glycogen, choline, vitamin E, vitamin K2. Would cannabis be a suitable alternative to cigars as an anti-parasitic? Sure, if it's legal where you're at. From the research study I saw online, it seems to be the THC component. I'm sure it's the whole, kit and caboodle, but yeah, I think it was in the Congo, I forget, somewhere in that area where they used it as an anti-parasitic. Vitamin E should be back next week, and Panacea should be back like right now or today. Can you drink raw milk after the Best By date? Sure. Yeah, it never really goes bad. How long could a 6-year-old sit in front of the red light? 10 to 15 minutes is usually a dose. Would you recommend the Perfect Supplements brand? Yeah, I've heard good things. Some of my friends like that. Dissociation disorder. Severe trauma. I would look for a neurooptimal practitioner, neurooptimal.com. Try to go do neurofeedback. Do you have a link to the surge protectors you use? Smart Surge is the name of it. I drink milk with maple syrup in it in the morning. It's awesome. Very hard to find eggs that aren't fed corn. Should I just avoid them until I find grass-fed? There are no such thing as grass-fed chickens. Yeah, do your best. Corn-fed chickens are fine. It's all an experiment. So try Costco eggs, try Whole Foods, try different ones, see how your body reacts. That's all you can do. Jennifer says, I actually had the opposite effect when I plugged in my Blue Shield. I found I woke up really early the next morning with an extreme amount of energy. That's great. That's awesome. Holly says, what is your advice and personal protocol against the Novid shedding or not? Yeah, my advice is to watch a comedy and laugh your ass off. Or you can watch the news. That's comedy too. But probably better just put on a movie. Austin Powers, the old ones are pretty good. There's a funny video on YouTube. Goat, forget the name of the video. Goat attacks human. I think it was in India. And like a goat, it's like a 2-minute video. We've watched that hundreds of times. I'm serious though. Fear shuts off your immune system and laughter activates it. If that's all you get from this live. So, that's why I crack jokes a lot, is because, one, you shouldn't take life too seriously. And two, if you do, you are going to be sick. So laugh and don't get caught in the media, spinning information, right? We have all of the solutions. There's nothing to fear, right? Make a plan. If you're stuck in the matrix, like I was for many years, then okay, you're stuck in the matrix, but small incremental steps every day to get out of that. And that's all you can do. And try to stay light. Try to have things where you unwind, right? For me, that's human connection and eye contact and face-to-face communication, because you get lost. This virtual world, there's a lot of good in it, but you can get stressed out by it. So, take breaks from, virtual land. Another free thing you could do if you're on a coast, what I used to do is find a beach and go out at sunset. You can do sunrise too. I don't like waking up that early. Sunset, bare feet, bring some sandals and a towel with you, and the usual thing, but bare feet in the sand at sunset, in the wet sand, and gaze at the sun. And that's a very, very powerful free practice. Because a lot of people always tell me, Matt, I don't have, it's thousands and thousands of dollars, all the stuff you talk about, I can't afford it, blah, 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 excuses. Okay, whatever. I worked, minimum wage sports chalet at the Westfield Mall in San Diego for 2 years, making, $8 an hour or whatever, check to check, in debt. I get it. You got no money, you're working your butt off, right? Okay. But there's no excuses, right? Instead of spending money on BS, you find a water store, you fill up like I used to do, 5-gallon jugs, you get a ceramic water crock, and you make incremental changes, and you make time to watch the sunset. And it is extremely healing to the nervous system. We got a question a minute ago about, dissociation disorder, depression, anxiety, right? There's a lot of stuff involved with those things, but start with freaking light. Start with light, because we are light. Light is how our cells communicate. The rainbow, right? Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Those are food for our system. They feed our system. And you can get it from your significant other, especially if they are healthy. Then you get more coherent light and you get more out of it. If they're unhealthy, not so much. And if you don't have that, then you get it from the sun. And it's better than any food. It's better than any supplement. It is food. So it's about priorities, right? And neurofeedback and, the Magnetico and all this stuff, supplements, it's good, but make sure that you're doing the other stuff too, because you'll see more of a benefit. Let's see. But yeah, just about the shedding thing, it's just turn off the TV. Turn off the TV. Don't give any of your precious attention and energy to this BS. It's all BS. It's all a show. It's all fake. It all doesn't matter. Focus on what matters. Daniel says, any tips for nosebleeds that last longer than 30 minutes at a time? I would take vitamin K2 and see if that helps. Let's see. Spencer says, best tips to heal gut. Apart from fruits, roots, dissolve it all in broth. Yeah, I'll show you the supplement that I talked about earlier. Where is it? Yeah, this one's pretty good. And you just take 3, excuse me. And yeah, I would add this one in with the bone broth and everything else. See if that helps. Spencer sent you looking drained, Matt. I think I'm just deficient in sugar. I'm gonna be drained this week, but it's all good. You'll have times where you're drained and you just keep going. What to do with raw milk when it smells sour? I mean, you can give it to your animals. Yeah, or you can throw it out. Should infrared be used directly on the eyes? I think it's safe. Is it okay while pregnant? It's very good when pregnant. A spike protein that's apparently being shed when women have been affected. Yeah, I haven't seen, I really question that. And people get really emotional and try to battle me when I say that. I really don't think it's a big deal. Again, what powers your immune system? It's animal foods. Like, focus on that, right? Dairy, milk, cheese, eggs, red meat, organ meats, and whole food C, these things feed the immune system. I'm gonna go ride my motorcycle into the sunset. I love it. Yeah, just don't forget about the basics, right? Because I share a lot of advanced stuff on here, but I want to always emphasize that, like, make sure that you have the foundation down, right? And a lot of it is not, nutrition, right? Or the physical stuff. It's like the non-physical stuff. Not having your phone in your face when you're sitting across from your significant other eating food, right? Like, just basic stuff like that. More important than the nutrition aspect. Thank you for my recent order. I really appreciated it. Congratulations on your engagement, your new home. Thank you. And thank all of you guys. Sorry that I'm a little Spencer said, looking drained. Been going nonstop the last basically week, preparing to move, and I'm going to be moving by the end of this week. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, I'll be sharing some cool stuff, especially as I get set up there. But yeah, gonna recharge. Let's see. Adam says my friend Kathleen, who's a physicist, thinks it might be cool to coronal mass ejections. Could be anything. We shouldn't go nuts over it. Oh, you mean to blow out the power grid? Yeah, there's so many things. I think it's really important that we all move. You don't have to, we don't have to all go off grid, but I think it's security to move that direction. Just mean drained, answering questions for 2 hours straight. You look healthier and happier than last year. Thank you. The shedding thing. Oh, interesting. The coronal mass ejection. I haven't heard that. Thanks so much. Congratulations and all the new changes. The new house looks peaceful. Yeah, there are going to be some cool videos there. So I'd show you guys Lyra, but I'll lose you again. So she's up there. And great questions as always. Hopefully they were useful to you. And yeah, the new video should be up, I think today or tomorrow. Off-grid living energy protocol video request. Okay. Congrats, Matt. Thank you. Dio says, Scott here got a million questions. I would end it anyway. No, I'm just kidding. But thank you guys. Let me see if there's any other last minute exciting things to share. Oh, I should do my methylene blue actually. I'm probably going to double up on my dose the next few days. The Just Blue from Transcriptions. If you guys haven't tried this is like crack, but like sustainable crack. Like it'll actually boost your energy. I'm actually going to pop one right now after this. And that plus light, like that little sun thing I told you about with the sunset, you take some methylene blue before you do that and you'll get a tremendous benefit. Yeah, Gatling gun. Oh, actually been getting into this for the humidifier. Just add a little bit of this instead of the ozone. It's an easy way to clean it. A little more expensive, but you can buy that by the gallon and super beneficial. So yeah, thank you guys. You can see the boxes are lining up there, covering my windows. Let me see here. Is energy the number one reason you use the methylene blue? Yeah, pretty much. Energy, nootropic, creativity, all that good stuff. But that's it. Thank you guys. Yeah, next month I'll probably do the live second to probably third week of the month, something like that. And be exciting in a new location, hopefully better connection. I think I'll be able to walk more around the house without losing connection, so it could be a little more mobile. I can't find anything on Google called Smart Surge Protector. Do you have a link? What's the name of it? It was like, I think $300 on Amazon. Smart Surge. You know who knows? Chad. What's his name? Chad. He's on Instagram. I don't know if we follow the same people. Chad, I think 528, something like that. He's the one that told me about it. Otherwise, message me on there and I'll try to, I don't know how else to, because I can't go on my computer because I'll lose you. But yeah, I would say Smart Surge Protector, something like that. Or just search on Amazon Surge Protector and it'll be like a rectangle. And I think it's about $300, give or take. So thank you guys. It was always fun. And I will see you on the next one. Oh, and Mitolife radio, new episode dropping tomorrow about eye health with Taylor DeGroot. That was a really cool one, jam-packed. She is so smart, knows a lot about eyes, and it was kind of all over the place, but related to the eye health. And this has a huge connection to pretty much every health condition. So thank you guys. See you on